I guess today I just wanted to talk about in my introduction just First Solar as sort of a case studies for some very good and forward-looking public policy, in particularly by Germany, but then also by other countries here in Europe that have picked it up. First Solar today is the world's largest thin-film PV module manufacturer. A little more than 4 years ago, when we put up our first commercial line, we produced 20 megawatts. Last year, we produced 500 megawatts. And by the end of this year, we'll have an annual production capacity of over a gigawatt. That's approximately the size of a normal nuclear plant these days. During this time, we've also been able to deploy over a gigawatt of our modules, which has proven out the technology and given finance sources and others confidence in lending against projects involving solar. During this time, as we scaled our manufacturing facilities, we also reduced our cost from somewhat in excess of $3 a watt to most recently below $1 a watt. Under our current plans, which we've been tracking on over the last 4 years, we hope to get to 65 cents a watt for production, our manufacturing costs for these modules by the end of 2002. At this level, we're confident that solar modules can be sold in a number of markets around the world without the need for any economic subsidies or assistance. To date, this success has been tied to one, our thin film technology and that permitting a very robust and throughput-driven manufacturing process. Second, really operational excellence of the engineers and associates who work throughout First Solar. And then third and last, really scale and the ability to scale that business. And you can't scale a business unless you have a market to sell your product into. With renewables, there's not an easy or available market today, given the dominance of fossil fuel generation technologies, the amount of incentives that go into those technologies, both direct and indirect, as Jim just mentioned. And so what they did in Germany was pass a feed-in tariff law. They understood this. They understood there was a public cost to not developing renewables early on. And if most of you probably understand how a feed-in tariff works, but briefly it set a price. And it required the utilities to pay that price for over 20 years. And it would require the utilities to quickly hook up renewables. And it wasn't just solar, it was wind and other renewable sources as well. And they priced that initially at a high level to encourage all technologies that had a chance to get in. And then the feed-in tariff each year would drop down. But it gave renewable companies like First Solar visibility. It was a 20-year payout on those renewable power plants that were created. That permitted First Solar and our customers to bring private financing in to finance these deals. We didn't need public financing along these. And it also drove us to rationalize the supply chain behind us as we scaled up. As you mentioned with respect to Walmart, it's a key aspect of doing this. All this wouldn't have happened unless you had a clear market and we could scale production knowing we could sell our product into these markets over an extended period of time at a rate we know we could make a return on. We also knew that we needed to scale to stay ahead of the degradation and the drop down in the prices as it would go. So it would encourage the best companies and the best technologies to build and scale their business, rationalize their supply chain, work with their customers, and in the First Solar example, drive prices down to a place where we are today within reach of cost parity with our fossil fuel infrastructure. I think this has been a key forward-looking public policy, and as other countries around the world, including the U.S., think about public policies and think about promoting renewables, I think this is a great lesson here in Europe as to what good public policy is about. Not picking winners and losers in technology, but setting up mechanisms that encourage all the good things about a market economy and all the good things about driving innovation and all the good things about that are from the benefit of scale of becoming available to the economy.